so many things in so many parts of like, not even just art, but like pop culture in the world, like things that are so feminine aren't really taken seriously, whether that's like things that young women are interested in or enjoy, or just, you know, hobbies, art, craft aren't taken seriously. And so I feel like especially young women feel like they need to kind of take on masculine qualities or masculine skills in order to do that. And so I think at some point I really just knew that I wanted to create this super feminine, super bold, confident work using this historically feminine craft, skill, art, but to tell like my stories of what I was going through as a young woman in a way that like I feel no need to cater to anything masculine if I don't want to. Like I really am. Like these look like they were made by a 22-year-old girl in the best way. I feel like anyone who does any sort of fiber art, any sort of crochet, knitting, quilting, embroidery, it's hard to do that without kind of looking back and seeing like the long line of like feminine tradition. Like it's passed down through women, and it's also just so associated with women and femininity. Even though men knit and crochet and do all of that, like you can't think of knitting without thinking of women. I mean, I probably wouldn't have even called myself an artist until like a year or two ago, just because growing up you tend to think of anything, honestly any woman-dominated craft like quilting, crocheting, knitting, you think of that just as a craft and not as an art form, which there's so many reasons why people probably think that, but I think the text and the words really came into it once I really allowed myself to see myself and to call myself an artist, and it became much more expressive and much more of like this outlet for me versus, you know, I have these skills and I can knit or make anything, and now it really, like I started to view it as that kind of outlet. I always think of it as like the Harry Styles effect. Like he will wear a dress and everyone will be like, the patriarchy has ended. Like, and I feel like that happens in art too. Like you have usually straight white men who are quilting, knitting, doing all of that, and they're taken so much more seriously than women who have been doing this for generations. Like it's been passed down, it's such a huge part of women's history. But then like a straight white man does it and it's like, you know, worn by A$AP Rocky in the Met Gala. It's like, and it's just that kind of thing, like, because I think anyone who wants to knit, embroider, do any of that should do it, because I know how much work it takes to do that, and I know how like almost therapeutic it can be. But I just have like this petty part in me every time I see someone getting credit for something that I'm like, you know, there's millions of women everywhere who knit, but it's just seen as this little craft, this little hobby. Because I guess people just assume women come into this world knowing how to knit because it's a feminine skill, when it's actually this very technical, difficult, like skill that you have to learn. I want anyone who does any sort of fiber art. There's so many young women who are online, so talented. They're knitting, crocheting, creating these things, and they call themselves crafty. And I'm like, you need to be calling yourself an artist, because I think that even just that one word can change how you view what you're doing and how you view what women who have come before you have done. Like you see all of these insane quilts that like people's grandmothers have made, or clothes that people's moms and grandmothers and great-grandmothers have made, and we just really think like, wow, what, like women are so crafty. And I think if we just kind of switch that over into calling so many people who are creating work with like such intricate, like detailed talent, just calling them people artists. Because I think you would also, with that, begin to see more things like this, things like other people are making like in galleries, in museums, and not just like online or on Etsy or something. There's this thing with young women, and especially I feel like young women artists, young women who are getting into any sort of industry, where you feel like any sort of confidence that you have or any sort of enthusiasm or excitement, that you need to tone it down. Like you can't let yourself get to a point where you're excited or vocal about it or proud of your work. I think more young women need to be so open about saying like, I know what I made is good. I know that I am a talented artist, and I know that I deserve to be in spaces where there are artists and like, because I know my work is good. I feel like so many people feel like they need to be self-deprecating about what they're doing so that you can set the expectations low for yourself, but I don't know, more people need to own up that what they know they're making is good.